Why did Israel attack Iran? Because one Holocaust is one Holocaust too many. Because the very existence of the Jewish state is based on the solemn vow of never again. Never again will the Jews be helpless. Never again will the Jews be slaughtered. Never again will the Jews allow an evil empire to murder them. This is why the young state of Israel built the Dimona nuclear reactor a mere 15 years after the liberation of Auschwitz. This is why Israel created one of the most formidable air forces in the world. And this is why Israel has been so alarmed by Iran's nuclear project since the beginning of the third millennium. For over 2 decades, Israelis had perceived the Ayatollah's Iran as a new Nazi Germany. But this time, we vowed, it would be different. This time, rather than being a Jewish shtetl surrendering to its horrible fate, we would be like Churchill's Britannia. We would fight back. We would fight back with everything we've got. We shall never surrender. What strengthened Israel's resolve was the horrible, barbaric assault of October 7th, 2023. Hamas's attack on that terrible Sunday morning had many implications. It was an attack on the very existence of a Jewish state in the land of Israel. It was an attack on the very existence of a democratic state in the Middle East. And it was an attack on the Jews' heroic attempt to escape hatred, persecution, oppression, and death. The pogrom that took place in the western Negev that autumn morning had seemingly taken us Jews back, as if in a time machine, to our darkest past. For almost 24 hours, Israelis too were helpless victims. But the new pogrom also underlined the fact that the new threat imperiling world order was people who endorsed 11th century values as they acquired 21st century military capabilities. And it made it clear that the nation who most clearly and dangerously embodies the new threat is Iran. The Shiite Republic had financed and trained the terror organization that took over the Gaza Strip. The Shiite Republic had encircled Israel with terrorist bases that endanger its very existence. And the Shiite Republic had managed to deceive the world and fool even Israel while becoming a threshold nuclear power. So that since October 8th, it has been totally clear that the roots of the bloody war in Gaza and Lebanon and elsewhere can easily be traced back to a terrorist supporting Iran, a ballistically equipped Iran, and an almost nuclear Iran. In 2024, Israel managed to dismantle at great human cost and suffering the terrorist bases that Iran helped build in Gaza and Lebanon. In 2025, it felt compelled to attempt to dismantle both Iran's ballistic arsenal and its nuclear might. Why did Israel attack Iran now? Because according to the International Atomic Energy Agency, Iran has amassed nearly 420 kilograms of highly enriched uranium, up to 60%, which could allow it to quickly manufacture 9 to 10 atomic bombs. Because there are fresh signs that Iran has commenced the crucial process of nuclear weaponization. And because, just like in the 1930s, the international community has failed to act decisively. Once again, the Jews are on their own. If we do not act now, within a relatively short period of time, Iran would go nuclear. And if Iran passes the lethal threshold, the Middle East will become even more unstable. The world will face a daunting new reality, and Israel would have to reckon with an imminent, concrete existential danger. The first nuclear event since Nagasaki would become inevitable. According to international sources, Israel became a nuclear power in early 1967. But what is striking about its decades-long regional nuclear monopoly is that it did not bring about an escalation of violence, but rather a relative stabilization of the Middle East. On the one hand, Israel's nuclear policy of ambiguity was very conservative and prudent. It never antagonized its neighbors nor made irresponsible use of non-conventional weapons. On the other hand, Sunni Arab nations never truly believed that Israel would use these doomsday weapons against them, and therefore they accepted their existence. As a result, Dimona helped guarantee that since 1973, there have been no comprehensive Arab-Israeli wars. Since 1979, 6 peace agreements have been signed between Israel and its neighbors. A nuclear reactor originally built in the aftermath of a European Jewry's Holocaust has made a surprising contribution to the calming of an Asian African region prone to violence. This is exactly the reason that over the last few years, the ever-increasing activities at the Iranian nuclear facilities of Natanz and Fordow have kept both Israelis and Arabs up at night. Put simply, it was clear to all of the moderate Jewish and Muslim leaders in the Middle East that breaking the Dimona monopoly would have enormous consequences. Sunni nations that have been living in peace for 58 years with a Jewish bomb will not accept the threat posed by a Shiite bomb. Therefore, if Iran goes nuclear, so will Saudi Arabia, as will Egypt, as will Turkey, as will Algeria. The most unstable region in the world will become home to a multipolar nuclear system. Obviously, Israel will not be able to survive in such a nightmarish environment. But the global railguards of non-proliferation would also become history. World order would be in jeopardy. What now? Israel's June 13th, 2025 attack on Iran resembles its June 5th, 1967 simultaneous attack on the air forces of 4 Arab nations. It was astonishing, shocking, and brilliant. Israel displayed unparalleled intelligence and operational capabilities, and it stunned Tehran. But serious question marks remain. Will Israel be able to strike the nuclear facility situated deep in the mountains near Fordow? Will Israel be able to destroy the fissile material that Iran has already amassed? Will Israel's regime-humiliating attack lead Iran's supreme leader to seek nuclear breakout at any price? Clearly, what is taking place in the Middle East is a breathtaking strategic wager. Israel on its own cannot defeat Iran. And Israel ignited a direct war against a regional power with 3,000 years of history and advanced science and technology. The only way to ensure that the remarkable opening salvo doesn't turn into a forever war or a prolonged conflict of catastrophic proportions is American intervention. Only if President Donald Trump decides to join the fight will it be possible to put an end to Iran's nuclear program. In this scenario, the war will also have a horizon of peace. It would pave the way to regime change, replacing radicals with moderates all over the Middle East, and lead eventually to an Israeli, Saudi, and Jewish Muslim peace. More than a week after Israel launched its mind-boggling attack on Khamenei's Iran, President Trump is hesitating whether he should join the crucial historical battle for liberty. At this crucial juncture, Israel hopes for what Churchill's Britain hoped in 1940, that America enter the arena and help vanquish an evil power endangering Western civilization and the free world.